We'll also kind of live stream it on. We've also initiated live streaming. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of ThinkLab. And this is our, as far as our verticals are concerned, this is our the fourth ThinkLab session. We are really looking forward to it because this pertains to an extremely sensitive, which for some reason within the entire clutter of conversations which happens around politics in our country is considered
கண்டிப்பா
as a major issue, but it is
ஓகே
actually
we'll meet.
several
Thank you.
people and lakhs of people this is affecting. And most of the conversations around this happens very, very silently and under the radar. And at AIPC, we are committed to kind of be the voice of the professionals. And in that sense, the topic, which is layoffs, the emotional, human, and the legal impact on professionals is very, very important. Today, we have an esteemed panel, which includes Ms. Kavitha, who is an advocate, Mr. Dinesh Kumaran Sekarji, who is an activist, and also Suresh ji, who is our AIPC vertical head of finance, who by himself and his team, they are pursuing a campaign against one such company who has indiscriminately laid off people. Today's moderation will be led by Dr. Jayanthi THIYAGARAJAN, who is a member of AIPC and a committed member of the Congress Party. I request and I also thank Daniel for organizing this entire conversation here. And I also thank everyone who has joined this meeting. May I request Jayanthi ji to introduce the panel, please, and start the meeting.
Yes, thank you, Pallaviji. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Jayanthi Tyagarajan. I extend a warm welcome to all of you for joining this important discussion on layoffs, the human and legal impact for professionals. Layoffs are unfortunate reality in today's corporate world and affecting employees across various industries. So beyond just being a professional setback, they bring financial challenges, legal concerns, and emotional distress too. So through this seminar, our goal is to provide clarity and guidance and support to professionals who may be facing or have experienced layoffs. So we will explore the legal aspects, financial implications, and human impact of job losses, enriching with your knowledges and strategies to navigate such situations effectively. So to help us with this, we have an esteemed panel of experts from legal, financial, and IT sectors. It is honor to have them with us today, and let me introduce our distinguished guests. So, Mr. T. Suresh, founder of CEBR Financial Planners Private Limited, is a management graduate with certifications from IMT Hyderabad and IIM Bangalore. With prior experience at DBS and DD AV India, he founded his firm in 2012 and specialized in goal-based financial planning. So, a seasoned trainer for over a decade, and he conducts program on personal finance, inheritance planning, taxation, and HUF, along with customized modules for superannuation planning, MDP, and EMC. The next panelist, Ms. Y. Kavitha, advocate, is the managing partner at TVS Gridhar Associates law firm with about 20 years experience. She regularly appears before the Madras High Court, Central Administrative Tribunal, Madras Bench, National Green Tribunal, and she serves as a standing counsel for Tamil Nadu Water Supply and Sewerage Board, National Institute of Siddha, and the Ministry of Forest and Environmental and EIL. The next panelist is Dr. Dinesh Kumar Sekar, as an IT professional with 15 years of global experience across UK, Scotland, Malaysia, India, and Qatar. So, a dedicated activist, he collaborates with NGOs to promote transparency in governance, fight against corruption, raise awareness about Gram Sabha and RTI in Tiruvallur district. He played a key role in exposing hospital overcharging during the COVID-19 and leading to reduced treatment cost in Tamil Nadu. He also researched and spread awareness about COVID-19 vaccine and challenging ICMR on critical data gap. So now we will start with Mr. Suresh. And Mr. Suresh, let us get into the discussion. So my question from our side is, how deep the layoff issue is, and can you share some statistics and anecdotes on it? And what is the financial impact of layoff on the professionals? Please, session is yours.
Thank you, and good evening to all of you, the panelists and the people who have joined the call. Today, you see, as a financial, Jayanthi has introduced me as a financial guy, and apart from that, I'm leading the financial services vertical for the professional Congress. Today, you see, take a seat back. You see, before we really get into this layoffs, we need to understand what is the bigger picture. That's critical. We need to understand why these layoffs are happening. The first thing is, I will clearly say, one is government policies, second is the competencies, and number three is the demand and supply. You see, whatever the blame game, we can continue to do that. But one thing I'm very, very clear, these are the three pillars of these layoffs and happening. Then we will talk one by one. What is this government policy? What are this competency? And what is this demand supply? If you look at the government policies, from an India perspective, post demonetization, believe me, whether you like it or not, demonetization is something that literally destroyed entire economy, the backbone and everything. From that day, if you look at the kind of employment data and everything, it is going down day by day. That's number one. And if you look at the present situation, post Trump became the president, tariff war is going on. Believe me, when there are uncertainties and everything, the biggest victim of that is the services sector. And one of the biggest chunk of that services sector in India is catered by the information technology, IT, ITES and everything. That means from a macro level, two things, one is global, one is India. Because of the policies by the government of India, and specifically I will talk about demonetization because that has literally broken the backbone of entire economy. Tariffs, that is literally, again, as I said, because of the global war, global tariff wars and everything, the services sector has got a hit. That's number one. Number two, as I said, demand and supply. Whether you like it or not, in simple term, let's say there is a demand for only 100, let's say phone, there is a demand for only 100 phones. And if we produce 120 phones, that means the 20 will not be consumed. That means there's a demand supply gap. In a positive economic cycle, the demand supply gap is lesser. In a negative cycle, where I think because of the government policies locally and internationally, the entire demand supply gap is going down. That's why if you see a lot of gap in there, once the demand supply goes down, what happens is the companies producing those things, they are also cutting down on their manufacturing, and it is indirectly impacting their labor force and everything. Because of that, a lot of layoffs happening. And number three, what I believe is, it's a fast changing world. If you look at my background in last 15-17 years, this is my third MBA that I am doing. That means you need to be updated. You need to be updated with the new technical skills or other skill sets and everything. And that's why if you look at in present context, let's say AI is literally disrupting entire ecosystem from the IT. And that's why when you talk about numbers, honestly, if you look at, that's what I was looking at, there are no real big numbers in the private sector, but I was looking at the IT data from 2022 to 25, around 6 lakhs employees have been, whether you can say they have resigned, they have been terminated, that's a debate that we have to do. But these are the kind of people who are impacted only in the IT sector. And let's say I talk about the banking sector, there the numbers are not really verified. But if you refer to our one of the our campaign that is going on, a bank called ICICI Bank, around more than 800 people have been laid off indirectly through coercive measures and everything. That means these data are not that reliable, except the IT data, which is around 6 odd lakhs layoffs in last 4 years. Any second question, ma'am? Yeah.
Jayanti ji, you there?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm there. I'm asking, what is the
Yeah.
financial impact of layoffs on the professionals?
Yes. As I said, these are the basic broader aspects of layoffs. Then when you talk about financial aspects, economic aspect, I think if you look at, I think I will again try to explain in very simple thing. What are the how people are impacted? If you look at most of the people who have been either terminated or laid off, like it's whatever, let's say they are earning 100 rupees, most of the people, what they do, they spend this money for their personal consumption, they spend this money for paying off the loans and everything, including taking care of the other expenses in the family. That means it's a hand-to-mouth budget for most of the people who are being laid off at a lower level or a middle level. So what is happening because of that? I think if you look at the entire ecosystem in India, normally if you look at on a 5-member family, minimum one or maximum 2 people are working. That means if somebody is laid off, it is not the one person who is getting impacted, it is the entire family of 5 members, husband, wife, parents, children and everything. Because of that, there is a huge impact on their entire financial planning and everything. They are not able to take care of the basics and everything. Because of that financial thing, what they are not able to do they are not able to spend on basic health, and they are not able to spend on other expenses that they need to do. The financial, I believe from an India point of view, financial impact is the most, because when you talk to most of the people, once they are laid off after 1-2 months, they are really struggling in terms of taking care of their basics. Today, because I come from the financial background, what I will appeal to people who are listening to us is, today you see, one of the things that we need to be blamed is this globalization, commercialization, and you see today there is no end how much you can spend. But as a financial guy, what I will recommend, what I will suggest to everyone is, if you are earning 100 rupees, put aside 10-20 rupees for your contingency. And if you are earning, let's say 100 rupees, you should have a contingency plan for at least 6 months or 9 months. That means if I don't have a job today, I should have that much of money in my accounts.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we'll come to the solutions.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time we move to the other panelists as well. We'll come back to the solution part of it. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Jayanti ji, please.
Yeah, one more question for him only. He has not answered if he has any statistics or anecdotes on the layoff issues in India.
Next panelist, Jayanti ji. We can move to the next panelist.
Yeah.
Said, ma'am, you see, apart from the IT where I said around last 4 years, around 5 lakhs laid off, 5 lakh people have been laid off. Apart from IT, if you talk about the other sector, let's say startup and everything, there are certain numbers, but which are not really verified. That's what I'm not really putting any numbers except the IT in terms of the kind of numbers in terms of layoff and everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Suresh ji. And Miss Kavitha, Miss Kavitha, you there?
I'm there.
Yes. Please, you just put some light on the legal things related to this layoff.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. So I'll do a screen sharing. Just 1 second. So is the screen visible?
We cannot see right now. We actually cannot see your screen right now. Could you go of this thing, we will.
Because I have a statistic, so I thought just 1 minute.
No, please. Yeah, you please continue and
Okay.
give us just 1 minute, and I will just give you proper permission to. Yes, we can see.
You're able to see. Yeah.
Now we can see. Yes.
So basically, to begin with, like I just have a pick from the Indian Express. So which sector is most affected? So if you see like the technology sector, like the software developers, so you have a statistics over here basically to show the technology sector is more affected by the layoff. The next comes the startup ecosystem, and then the media and entertainment, and e-commerce and retail. And if you're able to see, like with even with respect to the technology sector, it's developers, then the quality assessment, and the IT support staff. And also, like this is one statistics. If you're able to see towards the left hand side, you can see the number of employees who are laid off, and the number of companies. And if you could see in 2024, in January, it had been like a pretty very high of the layoffs that has been happening in the country. So this is broadly with respect to the statistics. So if you go get into the getting into the legal issues and the legal remedies to it, firstly, what is more required? Is the screen visible?
Yes.
With respect to the okay. So basically, it's more important like to look into there are two enactments that are very crucial with respect to the layoff and retrenchment. So one is the Industrial Disputes Act, and other one is the Shops and Establishment Act. I will just basically tell about few very important definition in the Industrial Disputes Act. So one is industry and industrial establishment. So I will not read it. I will just broadly say. So what does the Act defines of an industry is a business, trade, undertaking, a manufacturing or calling of employees. And so it defines what is an industry and industrial establishment. So the enactment subsequently the Supreme Court has given various definition, and it carries actually an extended meaning with respect to the industry. Like for instance, earlier like there was in fact debate whether the IT sectors will come under the definition of industry. Then subsequently it has been clarified, yes, IT also will come under a definition of industry. And especially like Tamil Nadu government 2016 they've issued a circular, and subsequently like Karnataka High Court and many courts have held that even IT sector falls under the definition of history. The very important definition is workmen. So unless you're able to any aggrieved employee who has been laid off or who seeks a remedy under the Industrial Disputes Act, unless and until like if he is able to establish that he comes under the definition of workman, he cannot raise a dispute at all. So who is the workman also? Like I'll take the Act defines those who does manual, unskilled, skilled, technical, operational, clerical or supervisory work. So I'll deal with it more elaborately by taking all of you to the various judgments. And then what is layoff and retrenchment? So it is more important. There are two definitions like section 2 KKK and 2O deals with layoff and retrenchment. Like for instance, like I've just given a comparative table. I'll just broadly take in 2 minutes like what is a layoff and what is a retrenchment. So layoff is basically, it is a failure, refusal or inability of the employer to give an employment, and retrenchment is nothing but a termination of service of workmen by the employer. So there are two chapters the Act deals with it. One is like where the industries where the employees are less than 50 workmen, and industries where the more than 50 workmen, like more than 100, it comes under chapter 5B. So so in fact, the ID Act provides for the procedure in case if an industry wants to go for a layoff, then what is the procedure that has been set out? If you see, it is not just like that. The the industrial establishment can just like that go and say that 50,000 employees we are laying off. That is not the way they could do. So as per the ID Act, Industrial Disputes Act, they have a set of procedure that has to be done. So where there's a requirement. In fact, like if you see 25M, there's a prior permission that they have to obtain from the appropriate government or such authority prescribed by government, and then they have to submit an application stating reasons for layoff, And once that application is submitted, there will be a preliminary inquiry that will be conducted, and thereafter, like, there will be an order passed with respect to whether layoff can be done or not. So similarly, even with respect to retrenchment, it is not just like that, and any industrial establishment could just like that terminate any employees. So there are quite a lot of this is basically a tabulation which I have captured. So now what happens whenever once it is done, the next remedy that is available for the employee is go before the conciliation officer, and the dispute is referred there, and if there is no settlement that has been arrived at, the next remedy that is available to the employee, or the employee who has been laid off, or the retrenched employee, is to go before the labor court and raise a dispute. So in this scenario, like, I would like to take you into basically about the layoff. So why layoff is being done by the companies are normally, it is because of the economic downturns. There's a strategical business changes in the business strategies and demand for products and service. So very interestingly, like, if you come to know, see what happens when you go and when an employee who's laid off and goes to the labor court and raises a dispute. So the first ground that the employer takes, or the industry that takes, is they say that no, we don't come under the definition of industry. The other ground that they say, the employee who has come in are not come under the definition of workmen. So if you see broadly, these are the two grounds that is being taken in all the cases. So that is why, like, the quite a lot of judicial pronouncements, judgments of the Supreme Court and various high courts, where they given extended meaning to the term workmen. Like, for instance, as we already saw previously, we saw the one the statistics showing the basically the statistics that we saw. It shows that in more in IT sector is where the layoff happens. So once when it happens in the IT sector, if they go to the court, the first ground that the IT companies take is that no, they are not workmen, because they do a supervisory role, so therefore they are not workmen. So how to so therefore there was a meaning that has been given by the courts. Like, for instance, originally, like, there was a dispute whether IT sector will come under the definition of industry or not, and now it has been clarified. Yes, even IT will come under the definition of industry. So if you see the two Supreme Court judgments that I have brought in, is one is that in the Anand Regional Cooperative Oil Seeds Growers Limited case, that's a 2006 judgment of the Supreme Court. So there they say, whenever question arises, whenever employee who has been retrenched or laid off, so he goes before the industrial dispute and raises when he raises a dispute, the first issue that is being raised is whether he's a workman or not. Because what happens if it is an unskilled employees, where they do not perform a managerial employee, he comes under the definition of workman. But what happens, he is a team leader, and he is a software engineer, and he has a supervisory role. So how it has to be dealt with is what is done in the Supreme Court has dealt with the situation. So what the Supreme Court says, the court has to get into the nature of work and also the terms of appointment in the job, which has to be looked into it. And there's another case in Bharti Airtel, is a very 2024 judgment, very recent judgment, where they have held, like, it is a case where it's a senior manager. So they say no, because he supervises more than 50 employees. So therefore, he is the court has said no, he is not a workman. So therefore, they cannot go before the IT. So likewise, even recently, Madras High Court in HCL Technologies, very recent judgment on 12/8/2024, where they said, like, if software engineers are doing only a skilled technical one, they come under the definition of workmen. But if they do a supervisory role, and not merely 4 or 5 employees, but they do it for a larger supervisory role, then they cannot be brought under the. So what is the remedies that is available? I'll only take you. So the first remedy is a contract. So what happens, like, if you have there's a contract, employment contract that has been entered, so it is better to go through the clauses. So what remedy that is available? In fact, there might be an arbitration clause that is available, so you can invoke arbitration if you are being laid off. And the other remedy that is available is claiming a civil suit, filing a civil suit claiming damages. And most importantly, as lawyers, we always advise you claim all the pending benefits like PF and everything, you claim it just to safeguard yourself. Another remedy that is available, say for instance, the labor code, if you're not able to come, you have a supervisory role and you're a team leader so you're in a middle level management or high level management where you don't have a remedy at all. The only remedy that is available is go before the Shops and Establishment Act. It also has identical remedies that is available under the Industrial Disputes Act. So section 41 subclause 2 says like you can go before the concerned authority before the Shops and Establishment under the Shops and Establishment Act, and whenever you're dismissed or laid off or retrenched, even for persons who are the managerial level, they can, if the definition of workman does not fit in, so you can go under that act and you can file a claim and you can seek your remedy. So the remedy that is available is also similar to the Industrial Disputes Act. So therefore, this is the legal position that I would like to point out. So what happens, like, since layoff is pretty high and as we see, it is getting increased by day. So I have there are only two remedies that are available. One is that you have to raise a dispute and also ensure whether by doing a layoff, whether the company has actually obtained appropriate permission from the appropriate government. So although whether the statutory compliance have been done is also needs to be looked into. And also, like in case if you're not able to fit in the definition of workman, so the best thing is go under the Shops and Establishment Act or take your contractual remedies. So under the you can go through the terms of once you enter an employment, there's a terms of appointment is there. So you can look into the contractual remedies. There is an agreement, so you can take those remedies. So these are the remedies that are available.
Super, Kavitha ji. Very nicely you explained about what is layoff and who can be affected or who can claim all these things. So the main question is, how many months or years a legal battle takes?
Normally, any legal battle takes years. So that's how the Indian court systems are there. But ultimately, you will get a remedy if you go to the court. So because there's no other alternative. The best remedy is like for the employee, it is the Industrial Disputes Act and the Shops and Act. Because what happens if you go for a civil suit? You need to pay. So whatever compensation, if you seek for damages, whatever value of the money, you have to pay the court fee also. So if you go before the Industrial Disputes Act, it will not surely end in months, but it will take years, but you can surely get a remedy to it. So what happens normally in the legal remedy is that if you go before the High Court, Labor Court, and you succeed, then they go to the High Court. Then then the matter at least runs up to Supreme Court. Many of these dispute goes up to Supreme Court. So therefore, it's a long legal battle that keeps going on.
So is there any settlement arises during this legal battle?
Yes. See, normally we see that if you're able to quantify the compensation amount that you're entitled to, and either at the labor court or in the high courts, normally if you're able to quantify, if they're able to get into a settlement talks, and if the employer, the company is willing to pay you the compensation, so the employee, in many cases, they receive the compensation and the matter gets settled. The dispute gets settled.
Very nice. Thank you, Kavitha ji. And then we will open for a question answer after Mr. Dinesh finishes. Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Dinesh Kumaran ji, you there?
Yeah. Yes. Hi.
Yes. You just start.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone, and thanks, Daniel, for organizing, and thanks for the panel for giving me this opportunity. And Suresh ji and Kavitha madam had given a very clear explanation from the finance perspective and from the legal perspective. So I wanted to share some pictures or share some scenarios where I have faced as an IT employee, and also to share some thoughts from the from the activist mindset. Yeah. So when we say a layoff, right, basically as because we have been seeing even the higher people or the senior executive managers or above than that was also being affected by the layoffs. Since I play a major role across the corporates, we know how they estimate their projections about the revenues and profits. And the layoff mostly happens not because the company is going on loss, or they are in a dissolve mode, or they are on the liquidation process, right? And Kavitha ma'am had explained, they have a process that they need to get the order from the government, to shut down, or get a notice before they proceed with the layoff. And I believe those things are specifically followed in terms of liquidations, or shutting down the operations in those cases. But these normal layoffs has been happening since 2016. And Suresh was once pointing, during after the COVID, these kind of layoffs has been looks like more. But we have been facing these layoffs quite gradually since 2015. But only thing is, nobody had stood forward to bring this as an issue. So, and that is where the gradual mode had raised to the increased mode, wherein it triggered so many people to form the unions for the the IT industry to save their job. And I closely work with a couple of unions across India, and wherein I jointly work with Kitu, and even they are helping me for one of my cases, because I'm also a victim of two layoffs, wherein I've survived in one case in Tamil Nadu, wherein I have approached the labor department, wherein they sent the notice even before the company terminated me, which allowed me to continue the job. And the second, the layoff is in a different company, which is in Bangalore. The legal process is happening. And to give a clarification or just information to the all IT employees here, who can be very well aware of what needs to be, you need to have it, or have a knowledge about when to handle this layoff situation. First of all, don't get panic, when the HR approaches it. Try to have your mind conscious, be clever, and and raising the questions. Get everything over the email. Normally people approaches you and shoot out there is a culture nowadays, there is not even a discussion being happened. So you get a email, when you open up the inbox in the morning, you say, this is your last date. So this is the practice which all the corporates are doing it, which creates a panic mode to the employees. Not just a panic mode, as Suresh had said, this leads to a mental agony and mental distress. And so many people have taken, or their thoughts changes, and psychologically they get affected, and which leads to their mental distress, which affects both the personal life and the professional life. And it's not about blaming anyone. We understand the corporate sectors as well, but as an activist more, I wanted to put this. But as a community, but as a society, we need to propose a solution, what can be done to save all these things. And to clarify certain things here, to make it very crisp, ma'am, Kavitha ma'am was giving some Industrial Disputes Act. Thanks for sharing those information. But most of the cases here wherein we could see a success is going on under the Industrial Dispute Act, on 1947, right? So, which is for all the workmen, which is under the managerial level. So, which means there is a confusion in the IT industry as well. You hold a manager designation, but you don't do a managerial purpose. So, in some of my cases, I play a senior manager role, but I'm an individual contributor. But I still manage a team, but they don't report it to me. So in these cases, right, the challenges goes on, and most of the cases get settled in the labor, conciliation desk in Karnataka. And comparatively across India, Karnataka government is deliberately helping the IT industry in terms of providing the remedies and solutions in a quick, duration compared to the other states and the legal procedures. And most of the cases get settled, and as if usually there is a compensation provided by the corporates, and whatever the request or demand kept from the the victim side. And the other cases, which goes through the court, is just because of the ego issues, or in the companies trying to play more smart. If they know, if you don't have enough evidences or proofs, end of the day, when we challenge them in the labor conciliation officer, they just we can challenge them with the Industrial Dispute or the Shop and Establishment Act. But when we have to approach the court, there are challenges for the victims as well. What are the data they need to provide there as an evidence? And right. So, and these cases nowadays, when the company HR approaches you for these kind of issues, or when you receive these kind of emails, I would suggest the employees to start having their data first, before you trigger a conversation about that. The termination or the layoff with the HR, you need to have your data collected first. as a, because when you have to play legally, you'll have to play safely as well. So you need to provide the data facts, and then you need to get the things over the written letter format, and you don't have to sign even if there is a threat given, because there is a in all the companies this is being a practice, like they approach you with the fruit mode first, and then they take the the stick mode, and then they they affect you with they'll start giving you the mental pressure. Because I've been challenging so many HRs, and helping many of my colleagues in terms of how to handle their the conversation. So initially HR gives you a threat, saying like oh, you'll have to sign. If we voluntarily sign the experience letter, what you'll be getting is like as you relieved it from the company as a voluntary resignation. If you don't sign, they will say you the term, the experience letter would be having a call of notice of termination, which means the company has terminated you, right? So which will have an impact for your further career progression in the second level of company. And even if you challenge that, it is fine. Then they will start threatening you. They will blacklist you on the company, or they'll give you the bad conduct, which again is going to impact your further things. So these are the ways or the practice that every HR would follow. But make sure before you reach this point of conversation, you need to have your data packs, everything ready, and you can simultaneously trigger the the compliance filing with the labor commissioner. And even before the conversation gets over, you might get the letter from the labor commissioner or the labor department. Once the acknowledgement has been received, or once the notice is sent from the labor department, so they cannot terminate you legally, because the dispute is on. So they cannot take the decision until the labor commissioner or the conversation gets concluded there. So this would be the the way of handling it. So you'll have to play very strong and be conscious in what you are communicating with them. Don't sign anything on you, I mean on yourself, or by forcing. So play it very carefully. So anything else, I'll leave it to the question and answers part. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Mr. Dinesh, you were telling like you have to have all these documents and everything. So
Yeah.
what do you mean by that? When once we have joined that job, we have to collect all these documents from the beginning itself, or what?
No, not really, ma'am. So the company say, for example, if you are working for a company for about 10 years, you don't have to hold all the 10 years data. So it's like, when you start realizing there is a the situation is kind of panic mode, you need to have your data kind of, the joining letter and your recent hike letter, or the recent contribution that you did it for the business enhancement, or that, given the boost for the company, or the best work that you contributed to the company. These are the data facts which you can provide as a facts, so much contribution or the efforts you have put for the company. Because it's like win-win situation, that we are not working for free and they are not paying us for free. And we also, it is also good for all the employees to know how much profit that you are making for your company. So it is more of the things like it is kept confidential, but it is your duty to know how much you have been billed by your client, because out of that only the 10% is being paid as your monthly salary. So 90% is the profit. So definitely layoff is not happening because of the financial crisis from the IT perspective, because the IT sector is a very first sector which plans very well ahead for the next 5 years about the projections, because the transaction process and every contract is taken minimum on a 5 years of contract. And the remaining is like they have a different category of managing the ad hoc services and the managed services, but everything is like very well costed, and it's very well benefited. And you could see the recent the protest which has been taken by the Knights Union, NITES, in Maharashtra, about the Infosys layoff. And Infosys was not ready to give up. It's purely a corporate ego when they breach the industrial disputes, and then when it's been proven, and they are not ready to accept the mistake. It's like purely an ego, and challenging the common man, like showing the authorities and power. But when the common man and every the unions here in India, like actively working on their respective regions, and night unions have taken very good move, which impacted Infosys within a week. Their shares have gone down to 50,000 crores minus, right? And then they realize now the Infosys chairman has changed his thoughts of thinking about the wellness of the employees. So it's all about the employee rights we need to ask, and moreover, we are not asking anything which is not in the book of law, right?
Yes.
And the companies have been agreed by adhering to the Indian laws to run their operations. And when
So
they
the thing
have
is, we need to be aware of all these things so that we can fight them, right?
exactly, and you need to be very conscious and confident enough to face them and play with this. As said, the remedy will take time. When you have challenge them legally, a minimum of 6 months to 1 year of time. But in case if you are approaching a court, then yes, it might take time.
So what are the precautions measures you have to take to avoid the terminations?
Avoiding the termination is nothing with the employees or the workman hand. So as I say, even the senior managers are getting terminated here. So it's like clearly planned on the top level management. And as I say, like when they see if I keep a margin of if I estimate a profit of 100 rupees for the next 20, I know for the next financial year, and I'm making a profit of 70 rupees, I'm not going on loss, but I lost the estimation of 30 percentage. So to just to balance that, and these layoffs has been carried very easily by the corporates just because there is no proper legal governance made by the Indian Labor Department, not only with the IT sector but with all the sectors across it. And as you say, the legal governance or the remedies has to be given minimum or within the timelines of 6 months. And for the IT employees, when you approach a labor court or so the labor conciliation desk, labor department, I guess they'll have to reply. I'm like, I'm not very much clear what is the current GO and everything passed. But as far as I work with NGOs, I had a timelines like within 45 days, you will get a response from the labor department, wherein it's like, quite a good number of time. You need to drag it with the company.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dinesh.
Yeah, thank
There are
you.
many questions available there in the desk. So we'll go for the questions. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Tarun Kumar
Everyone who has a
Sarmaji.
question,
Yeah.
everyone who has a question
Yeah,
can raise their hands and
Hello.
can raise their hands and then ask the question.
Hello. हाँ. Good evening all of you and sir and ma'ams. मेरा कंसर्न ये था कि मैं भी बैंक में वर्किंग हूँ, है ना? और
English,
ये जो अपना इतना कर रहे हैं, इससे बैंक के ऊपर कोई इम्पैक्ट ही नहीं आ रहा। ये तो ऐसे बोल रहे हैं हम तो सबको खरीद लेंगे। जैसे हम सीएलसी गए थे, है ना?
Tarun,
सीएलसी
sorry to interrupt, Tarun. Are you comfortable in English?
yeah, please,
नो
please.
सर, नो
Oh,
सर,
so
सॉरी, आई एम नॉट
sorry,
कंफर्टेबल इन इंग्लिश।
I'm just coming in
That's
here. I will
that's
translate.
okay.
Do not worry. We are open to all languages here. So I will translate. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. जी, Tarun ji,
हाँ
please continue.
हाँ हाँ मैडम, मेरा कंसर्न ये था कि मैं बैंक में सिस्टम में हूँ भी, और मेरे को 10 साल हो गया आईसीआईसी बैंक में, है ना? तो ये क्या काफी टाइम से 2 4 5 साल से इस तरीके से कर रहे हैं, और अभी भी ये लोग ऐसे बोल रहे हैं कि या तो आप जॉब छोड़ दो या कहीं दूसरी नौकरी देख लो, हम तो इस तरीके से करेंगे, रिटर्न में कुछ दे नहीं रहे। और सीएलसी को भी इन्होंने, आई थिंक है कि इन्होंने कहीं ना कहीं सेटिंग करी है, क्योंकि जब फर्स्ट टाइम मैं गया था ना सीएलसी में, तो सीएलसी का ट्रीटमेंट हमारे फेवर में था, और जब
तो
सेकंड टाइम ये अवनीश त्रिवेदी जी आए ना
आपका
हमारे,
आपके क्वेश्चन क्या है तरुण जी? आपका क्वेश्चन क्या है?
मेरा मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि मैडम, ये आरएमजी पूल जो है इनके पास, और ये टर्मिनेट जो कर रहे हैं, इंक्रीमेंट बोनस है, ये सब हमारे साथ बहुत गलत हो रहा है। इसके ऊपर कोई वॉइस रेज नहीं कर रहा। सिस्टम से भी बंदे नहीं आ रहे हैं, जो बाहर वाले हैं वो भी नहीं आ रहे, क्योंकि ये क्या सबको डरा रखा है इन्होंने। मेरे ऊपर भी बहुत प्रेशर है, मेरे को इन्होंने बोल दिया कि आप नौकरी छोड़ दो।
सबसे पहले तो हम ये समझते हैं कि ये बहुत ही एक भावुक चीज है, और आपको
हम्म
ये अभी सहन कर रहे हैं आप, तो आपके लिए ये भावुक चीज है। लेकिन मैं आपको एक ही छोटा चीज पूछूंगी कि इनको एक
हम्म।
प्रश्न पूछिए, बिकॉज ये नहीं बता पाएंगे कि ये क्यों हो रहा है और क्या। इसको आप एक प्रश्न पूछिए जिससे आपका कोई हल मिले इसका, वैसे प्रश्न पूछिए।
मैडम मैं तो यही पूछ रहा हूँ आपसे, मेरा कहने का मतलब ये कि ये बंद नहीं हो सकता कि जो इस तरीके से कर रहे हैं। मैं इनसे क्या बोलूं, ये मेरे को तो कोई रिप्लाई नहीं करते।
हाँ,
मैंने इनको अभी तक 8 महीने में कम से कम 100+ मेल कर दी, सिंगल रिप्लाई नहीं दे रहे मेल का ये। और ये बोल रहे हैं कि आप नौकरी छोड़ दो, तो मैं इनको बोल रहा हूँ मेरी गलती तो बता दो, मैं नौकरी छोड़ दूंगा, कोई मना नहीं कर रहा। मैंने आपको 10 साल एक टाइम दे दिया मेरी लाइफ का, और आज मेरे को आप इस स्टेज पे आके ये बोल रहे हो। और मेरी कोई गलती भी नहीं है मैडम, कहीं गलती नहीं बता रहे मेरे को, और मेरे को कहा है कि आप तो ना लीगल जाओ।
okay. So basically, he's been asked by his company to just leave, and he's been asking
हम्म
for evidence or any remark as to why he's being asked to leave. They are not telling him that, but they are insisting that you just leave. So in such a situation, what are the options? Because they are not even replying back to him. So any one of you, Kavitha ji, if you want to just take this and then Anyone else wants to answer? Please answer. Yes.
See, according to him, like what I understand is that they are asking him to leave immediately. So see, see, one reason is that why the company will be insisting. Normally, many companies say you resign. So therefore, there is no liability. They don't want to take any liability. So once you resign, it becomes a voluntary resignation. So therefore, they take advantage of it. So normally when they ask you because as I've already pointed out, it could be by way of a retrenchment or by way of a layoff. So other than that, they have to terminate you. And if they terminate you, they should issue your notice, giving reasons, stating reasons why they want to terminate you. And if they're not satisfied with your performance, then they should be maybe say for instance, if some misconduct or anything, then they have to issue a charge memo and follow a departmental inquiry. Just like that, they cannot say that you leave the organization, which you have to object. So you can always say that I have a legal right. So I am a workman, I am an employee of the organization, and you don't consent to whatever they say. So for many organizations, if you say, they'll just force you to resign, because resignation is not binding on them. They say it's a voluntary resignation. So therefore, since they don't want, they fear for any legal remedies that you may take, so they may try to say this, that ask you to leave. So you should not accede to it, or be strong and not to accept to whatever they say.
कविता जी, आप यही बोल रहे हैं कि आप डटे रहिए, क्योंकि वो आपको बोल नहीं सकते हैं कि आप रिजाइन करें, क्योंकि आप उनको वापस पूछ सकते हैं कि आप मुझे टर्मिनेट कीजिए फिर, लेकिन वो टर्मिनेट
can it be in English, please?
I am repeating what you have said to him because he
okay, I understood.
Yes.
Okay.
So कविता मैम बोल रही हैं कि आप डटे रहिए अपने इस पे, क्योंकि वो आप बोल रहे हैं अगर आपने रिजाइन कर दिया तो वो उसका कोई केस कुछ भी नहीं होगा, आपको कोई जवाब भी नहीं मिलेगा। तो आप डटे रहिए, क्योंकि उनको आपको टर्मिनेट ही करना पड़ेगा अगर उनको निकालना है। टर्मिनेट करने के लिए उनको आपको रीजन देना पड़ेगा उनको, नहीं तो उनको पता है कि आप उसका केस कर सकते हैं। तो वो यही रेकमेंड कर रही है कि अगर आपको जवाब नहीं मिल रहा है तो आप डटे रहिए, आपको थोड़ा स्ट्रांग रहना पड़ेगा। तो इसमें कोई लीगल ये नहीं है, आपको इमोशनली ही थोड़ा स्ट्रांग देखिए, डटे रहना पड़ेगा। ठीक है?
नहीं अब मैडम मैं अब
I just want to add,
लीगली तो कर सकता हूँ उनके
I
ऊपर।
just add,
Sorry.
so if they are forcefully terminating, it becomes an illegal termination. So it becomes an illegal retrenchment, illegal termination. The company will be liable for penalty to be imposed. So that is the reason why they don't want to forcing him to resign.
हाँ, वो आपको फोर्स नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि वो इलीगल टर्मिनेशन होगा अगर उन्होंने जवाब नहीं दिया और आपको ऐसे ही ये कर दिया, और कोई परफॉर्मेंस रिलेटेड भी अगर वो कुछ दिखा नहीं पाए तो वो टर्मिनेशन हो जाएगा, इलीगल टर्मिनेशन हो जाएगा।
मैडम परफॉर्मेंस का तो हमारे यहाँ कोई है ही नहीं, कोई क्राइटेरिया ही नहीं ना परफॉर्मेंस का। तो
तो तरुण जी, फिर ये ना अभी हम फॉलो अप क्वेश्चन नहीं लेते, आपने जो या ऑफलाइन बात कीजिए। आप एक्चुअली तीश सुरेश जी का नंबर लीजिए। तीश सुरेश जी,
ठीक है। और मैडम यहाँ पर है ना कुछ मतलब इनमें गलत एक्टिविटी अभी हो रही है बैंक में, तो मैं एक बार सुरेश सर से 1-to-1 कर लूंगा, है ना?
We will talk. Bye.
ठीक है सर।
मेरा क्वेश्चन कविता मैम से है। I have a query for Kavitha ma'am.
Sorry, one second. धर्मेंद्र जी has raised his hand. We'll go to him first. धर्मेंद्र जी, आप प्रश्न पूछने वाले थे।
Hello Pallavi ma'am. Hi, good evening everyone. Good evening Suresh sir and Kavitha ma'am. मैम मैं आईसीआईसी बैंक का एम्प्लॉई हूँ, और मैम मेरा केस थोड़ा एक्सप्लेन करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि ये जो इलीगल टर्मिनेशन एंड हरेसमेंट चल रहा है मैम, ये पैन इंडिया लेवल पे चल रहा है।
Can you speak in English? Sir, you speak good English. Kavitha ma'am and rest of the people, they don't understand. मैं दिल्ली में हूँ तो I understand Hindi and Telugu. They don't understand. तो इंग्लिश करो।
Sir, basically I am not much comfortable in English.
I will translate for ma'am. बोलो, आपका केस बता दूं क्या? Should I explain your case to Kavitha?
Yes sir, please आप explain करिए ना थोड़ा सा।
Abhinav, can you come? Abhinav is also asking. Abhinav ji, please. उसके बाद I will translate everything. Because Abhinav, are you there? Abhinav?
Yes sir, I am here. Sir.
You can ask directly to Kavitha ma'am. Otherwise, what I will do, you see, I understand this entire ICICI case. I will ask 1 or 2 questions to Kavitha directly. So you can ask this question. After that,
Yes, sir. My question for Kavitha ma'am, if during the conciliation process, if complainant is not satisfied with the conciliation proceedings, because the conciliation officer is not proper viewing the documents, checking the records, and not doing best effort to conversion for the settlement. So, in that scenario, without signature of the proceedings by the complainant, can conciliation officer forward the case to the CGIT? If complainant did not sign on the proceedings copy.
But the object of the Industrial Disputes Act is basically that you have to go for a conciliation and settle the issue. And then if you're unable to settle, then we have to go raise an industrial dispute. So when you go to the conciliation officer, and if you feel that he is biased or he is favoring the
Yes.
employer, so that in many cases it happens. So in such case, you can always say that you're not billing down for whatever terms the conciliation officer is stipulating. So you can insist him to submit a failure report.
Okay.
So once there is a failure report, you can go with that, you can go and approach the labor code directly, raise an industrial dispute. So this is a procedure that has been set in the ID Act. So there are also instances where I have come across conciliation officer himself keeps it pending for a very long time, and there is a huge delay. So even those circumstances, you can go before the High Court under Article 226 and seek for a remedy.
So rate is maintainable for the private body.
Please tell me, sir.
Writ petition is maintainable in High Court for the
No,
private
writ
organization.
petition, you're not for a private body, but because since you have gone to the conciliation officer and he is an authority under the government, so therefore, for him to pass an order, conciliation. Yeah, so that circumstances you can go before the High Court for asking the authority to pass an order with respect to your dispute.
Okay.
Basically, he has to consider your case. You cannot keep it pending indefinitely. You cannot have it for several years.
Yes.
Okay. Can I add something to that?
Please.
Yeah, so which would make his question clarified. So basically, what happens when we approach the labor conciliation desk, right? And there would be hearing given for both the parties to get it mutually solved, either by the compensation or by reinstating the job. But if not, the ID. So we have a law, like we can request the labor department. So when the the mutual resolution is not done in their desk, then they have a section like we can use the section on Industrial Dispute Act 1947, section 10, 1 and C. So which the labor desk itself, they have to refer the case to the labor court directly. So the directions would be passed directly by the labor conciliation officer to the court, so that both of the parties will be called for the hearing. And only if the the resolution is not passed again in the labor court, then you would be given a chance to approach the High Court.
Okay.
We'll go to the next question now. We have Ankur Sainiji. Yes. You may unmute and please speak.
Good evening, ma'am. My question is that I raised a dispute against ICICI Bank in LC, but they didn't responded, and they said that we are here are intermediate between employer and you. Then what my next step? Actually, I'm a physically disabled person, and I don't have much money for going to High Court.
Basically, if I'm right, so basically they say you are not a direct employee of the company and you are employed through a contractor. Is that what they say?
सर सही है क्या? नहीं, मैम इज आस्किंग कि आपका जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है इट इज नॉट डायरेक्टली थ्रू आईसीआईसी बैंक, इट इज थ्रू ए कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वाला थर्ड पार्टी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. इज इट राइट? सही है क्या?
No, ma'am.
नहीं, क्या
No,
बोल?
ma'am.
हाँ,
Ma'am, actually, my
No, sir. His question is कि ALC assistant labor commissioner, conciliation officer is saying we are just like a mediator, conciliation officer. So if organization is not willing to settle the case during the conciliation, so employee can go to High Court, Civil Court or CGIT. So his question is that he don't have such money, financial background to go in the court. So what he can do in that situation?
So normally, like I would say, like there is Legal Service Authority Act is there, where every court will have a legal service authority. Basically, where legal aid is free legal aid service is provided by all the courts. So if you can identify whichever state you are in and district, identify where the legal aid service authority is available, you can file an application over there, and they will nominate a lawyer and they will do it for free. So without any cost. So that is one remedy that is available. So you get really good, efficient lawyers who are taking care of your case.
Okay.
Thank you.
And ma'am, what is my next step after ALC?
The next step is
Go
that
to labor court or
you have to go to the labor court.
okay, okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Ankurji, and thank you, ma'am. Next question, we'll take only 2-3 questions, but before we take questions from the here, there are some questions in the chat. One question I will ask. It says that, it's by Dipjyoti Maulik, and he has asked saying that, in many cases, it's observed that the conciliation officer does not properly follow the Industrial Disputes Act, even though the employee falls under the definition of workman. It often seems that the officer is biased towards the employer and is in a rush to either refer the dispute to the CGIT or issue FOC report. In such situations, what legal remedies can be availed? This is the question. Dinesh, do you want to take this?
Kavitha,
Yeah.
yes.
Both can do. Actually, Dinesh, you can move ahead and then Kavitha ji.
Yes. Yes, this is the actual scenario or the habit of the the legal, the panel here who takes care of the labor disputes. And as he said, right, there are sections available where you can request the labor department, as he say, like the legal department, the legal conciliation is actually a mediators because they cannot pass a resolution. Because only if mutually gets convinced there, then the case or the dispute is going to get closed. If not, either one party is not satisfied with the legal resolution, is going to approach anyways the next ladder, is going to escalate to the labor court. So if the labor court, the labor conciliation desk understands clearly nowadays in the current scenarios, I'm saying, like, because we have been understanding how they work. So they know Industrial Dispute Act works. Even in my case, which I recently had a hearing. So it says, like, they have been breaching the laws. But what is why is the conciliation? Why is there is a resolution not done in the labor court? So you'll have to justify your facts in the labor court. So the direction has been properly given there under the section 10(1)(c), as I said earlier. So you can request always the labor court to use this section. You can give a letter in your dispute. Actually, when there is no proper solution found, you can request the labor commission under this section to send the direction to the labor court, so that it automatically triggers the next level of the hearing for them.
Kavitha ji, would you like to add something?
I will just add. So as I've already said, the conciliation officer's role is only to arrive at a settlement. So if he is unable to arrive at it is not that he can give a final decision either this way or that way. So once he is unable to arrive, there's a failure report that he has to pass. So therefore, like, you cannot get any remedy before the conciliation officer. That we need to be very clear. So only if the employee seeks some remedy, and say for instance he's terminated and the employer agrees to take him back in service, then the matter gets settled. But in case that the employer is not, then the next step is the conciliation officer is very limited. He can only submit a failure report. On that basis, we have to go before raise a dispute before the CGIT or the industrial the ID code and the labor court, and you have to file your claim statement, and there will be a counter statement, and you have to conduct a case. There's a cross examination, chief examination, everything will be conducted. And as already Dinesh has pointed out, it is very important that you should also have your record your employment records clearly and properly, and because you have to file all those documents to show that your nature of work, and thereafter the labor court will pass an award. So in case if you are aggrieved by the award, thereafter you can go to the High Court. So this is the process that has to be followed.
Yeah. So we'll just take 2 questions more because we need to wrap up the meeting as well.
Can
So
I also give me a chance so that I need to put entire case so that she can guide me? One chance to me. I can ask Kavitha.
so maybe then we'll ask only one question. Sakib Sheikh ji.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, in continuation to Abhinav, my question with Kavitha, ma'am, when we approach to CLC under GROW, they consider our case under 2S. And we request, sir, why you are not putting our case under 2K section? They refuse, you are not having union.
Okay. So you filed it under 2S.
They consider under 2S, ma'am.
No, you wanted to be considered under 2S.
2K.
You wanted to be considered under 2K, and they have considered. I'll just look into it. The provisions I have. Just 1 minute.
Yeah. Because what we thought, ma'am, if the FOC is under 2K, then as an group we can refer the case to CGIT.
Yes. So 2K
Right,
talks
but
about the industrial dispute.
yeah.
So what do the conciliation officer says? He says that it will not come under 2K.
Yeah.
Okay. So therefore, then it becomes a failure report. So he does not agree to whatever you say.
But the problem is that under 2S, there are employees from various parts of the country. So they have to file their legal case to the CGIT. And we want under one umbrella, the case should be filed under CGIT.
Okay. So normally union itself can file ID. So there is no any union filing it.
Okay. I will just intervene here because this entire seminar but we can completely understand why these questions are coming, and this is a real situation which all of you are going through. It is having real life impact on your lives, and your family's life. But we can basically make a list of these questions and send it to Mr. T. Suresh. Okay, and there are many other questions in the chat as well, which we can kind of later copy paste and send it to Mr. T. Suresh. But definitely, T. Suresh ji, in the chat section, if you can just put your email, professional Congress email ID, they can write to you, and we will then Mr. Suresh can then see how he can approach and get ma'am or someone else to kind of answer these questions. But right now, I think we should wrap up the question bit of it. I'm sorry for that. And we'll just conclude the meeting right now because we have overshot the time and we will have to conclude the meeting. Yes, Suresh ji, very short. We just have a minute or two.
Yeah, 1 minute. Kavitha, ma'am, and Dinesh. You see, I think, ma'am, the entire problem is if you look at the people who have been terminated. Let's say there's a classic case. 782 ICICI Bank employees have been terminated. When the labor court said, what is the reason? The bank said that these guys are not reachable. You see, how to handle those things. You see, one is you talked about the legal part and Dinesh talked about the process. Coming back to you, see, what about these employees at the ground level? Can they spend that much of money, time and everything? Because end of the day, for bread and butter, they need to get themselves engaged. Number two and second, whenever we saw around 800 cases from ICICI, most of the cases they are saying the client and the employee is not reachable. How can this be a justification to a labor code? Again, that they're putting that note at the chief labor commissioner, national level commissioner. So how to handle all these things? One is, you said legally you are saying right things, but the way bank deal is they're saying these guys are not reachable. How can they say that 800 employees are not reachable? So how to take care of these questions? Yeah.
Dinesh, would you like to answer this?
Yeah.
No, ma'am. Kavitha, ma'am, you can go ahead.
Yeah. See, basically, they say that they are not reachable is something. Such kind of answer is not at all agreeable, because now you find the social media, like you have WhatsApp, you have emails.
Yes.
So the employees all regularly in contact, and courts accepts even services through email. In many instances, it's been accepted. So that is something that is totally unacceptable. The courts will surely look into it. So I'm confident about the justice system in our country, where courts will surely take note of it, and the employees will surely get justice out of it.
Ma'am, finally, can we be in touch in case, let's say, these employees, we are at JIPC, we are working for these employees for last 2 months, they are coming to us. Is there a way that so that I can collect the data, I can take your help, and can you guide us? I think.
Sure, sir. I'll be really great. Surely I'll be willing to do it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Sure. Yes.
Thank you, Kumar.
Because basically, like one thing that I'll just take a few seconds. The one thing that we have to understand is that the Industrial Disputes Act or Shops and Establishment Act are all created for the purpose of the laborers and for the workmen. So that is a context on which all these tribunals have been. The tribunal's role has to see to protect the laborers and the workmen. It is not for the employers. So that we have to keep it in mind. So therefore, we should not go with the always when you're going to approaching the labor courts, we should not go with saying that there is no remedy for me. But as a lawyer, I find like labor courts, most of the cases they have given very good awards in favor of the workmen and the labor. Even in high courts, if you see, they favor the workmen and the labor, retrenched and layoff. And even if Supreme Court also has been, all the courts throughout the country has been in favor. So most of the judgments, if you see, will be in favor of the employees. So that that's why the enactment, if you see, the object of the enactment itself is to protect the employees of the country.
Thank you, madam.
Okay, thank you. Dinesh, would you like to add something?
No, nothing. Just to conclude, to everybody who's facing these issues, don't worry, and you'll have to be bold enough to face this, and you need to get your data prepared when you're approaching the labor desk. And as we said, in your local regions, you can identify. There are so many unions, IT unions, formed and operating in each states. So you can identify them and take the help. And so far, all the unions are so helpful who's doing it. And probably in case of any other, the process changes or any other suggestions from your side, not only to resolve this situation, but we as a IT professional and as a citizen of India, and we also need to see if we can propose a solution for this. Say, because I had different thoughts how to protect this, because this layoff situation has become become a practice, and it is not unavoidable at all the moment. Anyways, it's going to reoccur at any cost. But in those cases, is there any policies to be created? Say we have a variable cost, right, which is being deducted from the salary, and end of the day it goes on your performance, either you perform it or not. Like, it depends on the company's performance. Your performance is being calculated in such a way, like, as we said, we need to be knowing how much the profit you are making for the company, and out of that we can make any policies proposed to the government to safeguard our jobs. Or in case of any layoffs or terminations like that, we need to be having a separate policy created to save our efforts, and whatever the contributions we made for the company's enhancement and company's profit, we also need to be provided and taken care of from that. So in these ways, you can probably think of and think of some solutions. Probably we can also work with the All India Professional Congress team to highlight this in the the higher forum, and see if we can get a solution for all the industries, and for the welfare of all the IT sector people as well. That's all. And stay strong and stay bold and get your facts ready. That's what I'm saying. Nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This has been a very, very rich, talk, and you can see live. Like, I've also got a message from my colleague saying everything is so raw and real, because it is. It is. This is really in real time happening to people. And like someone has mentioned in the chat, 782 employees is probably just since Jan to June 2024. There are in the last 4 5 years 6,000, 7,000 employees. And like ma'am has rightly pointed out, a lot of us don't know what the legal cover we have, the emotional, the activism around it, how much effort we will have to put collectively as professionals to come together to make policy change, like Dinesh ji said, how much it's going to take, like, for all of us. This is a beginning of that conversation. so that, you know, in the coming years, in another 4 or 5 years, hopefully there will be a change. And this is just the beginning. So thank you everyone for joining and truthfully, you know, sharing your situations. And I absolutely thank Dinesh ji and Kavitha ji and Suresh ji to coming here and giving your valuable inputs. And also kind of offering to help in the future as well. Thank you so much for that. Big thank you from AIPC. Jayanthi ji, thank you very much for moderating this so beautifully. I'll request and definitely everyone, please mail Suresh ji's email ID is there in chat. Please mail to him. And I request Daniel to kind of, you know, conclude the meeting. And thank you, Daniel, for organizing all of this.
Thank you, Pallavi. I thank each one of the panelists for their time, especially Kavitha ma'am, amongst the busy schedule, she offered to come. And Suresh sir, who is working among multiple professionals who have been laid off, especially the ICICI professionals, and he's there with them physically. He stay even to the police station, and we are really admired by his courage and commitment. Word of thanks to Dinesh. I know it's a difficult time, but yes, you have made so much sacrifice and come here in this busy time. So thank you. We were happy to hear all the real and raw voices. So this is what All India Professional Congress is all about. We want to create a dialogue among the professionals regarding the problems faced by them, and we want to provide a forum for these kind of discussions. So everyone is welcome to join All India Professional Congress, where we can stand for each other, and the more stronger we are, we expect a solution soon. So thank you everyone for joining. We'll meet again in a fortnight in another ThinkLab session. Thank you all of you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Good night. Have a good
Thank you.
weekend, all.
You too. Take care, everyone. Take care.